beginning with you, Mr. Pritam, if we can just begin with a quick round of, which projects is your company, which PSP projects is your company developing? If you can let us know the projects, the capacity, the location, whether they're, I'm assuming they're mostly off the river, and just those project parameters, and then we can go to some other discussion.
Good evening, everyone. Hope I am audible. Okay. So Tata Power, right now, I think 2 PSP projects we have undertaken. One is 1000 megawatt Bhivpuri project, which we have just started construction. We have received first stage FC clearance, EC clearances. So 90% of land is our own land. So majority of the project components are in our own land. In fact, we own the dam as well, the Tukarwadi Dam. And another project is 1800 megawatt Sirvata project, which also is on Tata Power's own dam. We have 3 existing hydropower project, which is over 110 years old, running perfectly well with full efficiency. And we are very proud to say that. So these facilities are coming just along by those things. We also have a couple of projects in our eyes within our own area. So once we are done with these 2 projects, we will probably look at those 3 projects. Also, Tata Power is engaged in Bhutan in hydropower and PSP. So one 1800 megawatt PSP is also upcoming there, which is in DPR stage. That's good enough.
Right. To begin with, yes. Mr. Punidhan, next, the same question for you. I know Adani has a lot of projects, but maybe you can highlight a few of them.
Yeah, thanks, Kushbu, and good evening, everyone. As far as Adani is concerned, our business outlook is about 30 gigawatt, out of which right now we have MOU tie-ups with a lot of state governments. Our about 15.81 gigawatt is what we have started off very seriously right now. Another pipeline of about 5.87 is in the investigation stages. And also we are prospecting some about 4 odd gigawatt. So roughly around 29 point something, 30 gigawatt is what we are looking at. Right now, at this point of time, we have 3 projects under active construction. One is 500 megawatt Chitravati project, which has already completed about 46% of the construction. The other 2 projects are Gandikota in Andhra Pradesh, that is 1800 megawatt. And we have Tarali project in Maharashtra. So our focus is entirely PSPs in India and hydros abroad.
This is how much total capacity under active construction?
Under active construction is cumulative is 3,800 megawatt. So it's 500, 1,800 and 1,500.
1,500. Okay, fine. Mrs. Sabikhi, what are some of Renew's projects in this space?
All right, so very good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for having us here. Talking about Renew, so we are present in both hydro and PSP space. We have one operating portfolio of hydro project, which is in Uttarakhand, 99 megawatts, and it's a pondage-based system that we have. And in PSP, we have at this point of time almost close to 4.5 gigawatt is under very advanced stage of DPR is where we are. And our active interest is there in other states also. So close to 8 gigawatt is under identification and allocation state. So that's where we are. However, it's an evolving space, not only for us, for everybody in the system. So there's an ongoing exercise of, further evaluating the potential pipeline which is available. But just to put into perspective, so at an advanced stage, we're at around 4.5 gigawatts. So active in UP, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and other states like Maharashtra, Rajasthan, MP, for that matter, we're actively pursuing.
And these 2 projects that that make up 2.5 gigawatt. These are in which two states?
So this is the advanced DPR is in UP, Chhattisgarh, and Odisha.
Okay, all right. The next round of questions, I'll begin with you only, Mr. Sabikhi. As someone who has traditionally been, a very RE-focused IPP, what was the driver to, move into a PSP kind of a space?
I think it was always clear that what got us here will not take us there. That's the kind of philosophy we believe in, and we have started seeing the change and the evolution of the demand for RE in the market. Uh, so we were the first one to do a round-the-clock RE contract. We were the first one to do a short peak kind of a contract, and we were also the leaders in doing FDRE and load following. It's just the fact that at some point of time you have to take the cognizance of the fact that country as a whole, there's a limit to which a plain vanilla RE can be integrated into the system. At some point of time, storage. When I say storage, I'm not specifying either it is BESS or PSP, because for us they don't compete; they complement each other. All storage technologies in the country will have a use case. So it was clear from the beginning. It was just a matter of time which technology will come up first and which will have a use case, a stronger or a bigger use case. So I think that's with that belief we were always there. So for us, the best came first, and PSP followed.
Right. Mr. Punidhan, since morning, I think we've been hearing a lot about having, firm contracts in place for offtake, energy storage agreements in place for the projects that you mentioned where advanced, you've reached advanced stages of construction. What has been the experience for you in terms of getting some of those contracts in places, some of those agreements in places? Are your off-takers decided?
Yeah. So as far as a business case is concerned, we are very clear on a business case. Most of our business cases on a standalone PSP basis, where we have this annual fixed cost along with the cycle loss and then this total storage cost. So most of this business now, regarding the offtake, we are not trying to put all the eggs in the same basket. What we are trying to do is we are trying to spread out in the merchant market, and then the C&I customers, and then the long-term PPAs through the discoms. So, I mean, you might be aware that we have already won one bid in UPPCL. We had 750 plus, along with the green shoe option, we had 1,250. So that is again on a standalone basis. When I say standalone basis, I mean we are not bothered about the input power. This is coming from the state discom. So, but each and every offtake is a challenge for us, because we see which one is the maximizing the returns. Because in-house also, our group has our own captive consumption of about 15 gigawatt. We have ports, we have airports and all those things. But still, when we go to an offtake, our strategy is to see which is bringing the maximum returns. And also it depends on the risk appetite. How well are you placed to enter the market and take that risk in the merchant market? So as far as us is concerned, I think we are very clear from day one, build as much storage as possible, keep the maximum exposure to merchant market, and also long-term PPAs.
Right. I know Adani is looking at hydro projects in not just in India but in other Asian markets. Are you also looking at pump storage projects in ASEAN and other regions?
No, as long as pump storage is concerned, it is a very good business case in India, but it does not apply in other places like Nepal or Bhutan or Vietnam and all. Mainly for the reason that you need a cheaper input power. That is one thing. And second is that we within Adani, we have our own threshold values. For example, we did evaluate a lot of projects even in Bhutan and Vietnam and all. But I think what factors plays an important role is of course, the L by H ratio, the volume of the reservoirs. So I think for us, we are very clear that focus on PSPs in India and focus on hydropower abroad. Abroad, when I say Nepal, Bhutan typically, and then we are also into Vietnam, Philippines, and Tanzania. Majorly, wherever we have our ports operations, we are trying to get into these PSPs.
Yes, right. Mr. Pritam, coming to you now. Two questions actually. One regarding offtake for some of those projects that you are building. What are the kind of agreements that you have in place? Are you also looking at merchant and CNI kind of customers? And the second one is regarding what are the kind of applications that your projects are being designed to serve?
I think the fundamental principle of business is maximizing return, as my friend Punidhan says. It is by and large same principle and same market target is there, go to market. It will be distributed over different baskets. This we have to see how it evolves, like which one is giving maximum. Today it looks like merchant is more lucrative. Going forward it is to be seen. And standalone storage is the safest bet. So to large extent, I think we will go for that. And then also we have our own in-house group consumptions. And target will be to some extent to C&I market and hydrogen business,
Green hydrogen.
green hydrogen business.
All right. Were you saying something else? No. Okay.
This is go to market. And
Right.
second one, please repeat your question.
Second question was regarding the kind of applications that your projects are being designed to serve.
I think this is designed to serve all these kind of applications.
All right.
RERTC, FDRE, all kinds of, you can do that. I think you can
Right.
play well.
Mr. Punidhan.
Yeah, I think it's a very good question because all of us only see the tip of the iceberg. When it comes to use cases in PSP, it is enormous actually. Of course, energy arbitrage is one aspect where everybody gets into it. But if you see the different use cases, of course, in India, that those markets have not developed it as yet. One is ancillary services, which is going to be a huge market. Second is that there is, if you see the capability of PSPs, there is quick ramp up and ramp down. There is load following services. There is grid regulation, frequency regulation, stabilization of the grid. So there are a number of use cases. But primarily, right now, like everybody knows, in the future, when the requirement is more of a renewable energy around the clock requirement, especially when hydrogen really booms up, and most of the C&I customers are wanting to go green. So RERTC is one major area where we will mix all these renewables along with this. But if you see the way aggressive these renewables are growing, I think in India we need to build as much as storage as possible to have a very good use of all the resources.
Right. Mrs. Sabikhi wanted to add something
Yeah,
on
so
markets.
I'm just taking forward the point Jay just made. So I think so the idea here is, it is often said that we always talk about the value in the economics. I think the value comes from the physics also in this case. If the physics is sorted, economics will fall in place for sure. Taking forward the point on ancillary market, I think that the other important element is the fact that with high RE and phasing out of thermal, I'm not talking about 2-3 years down the line, I'm talking about, because these solutions are there for 40, 50 years. I'm talking about a decade later, when thermal share would be less. We are not valuing at this point of time the kind of inertia support these moving machines provide, which is currently being provided by thermal and hydro assets. If the thermal goes down, there is a strong value proposition from the physics engineering point of view, which this will offer. And fortunately, unfortunately, there is no market, which we just discussed. There's no market for that. So I think energy arbitrage is just one. Bundling with RE is another. It is inevitable that storage, again, I'm not talking only about this. There are discussions around even using the inverters of BESS to provide some kind of grid support services. So even renewables are expected to provide that. So I think this is a one technology which will be a clear winner, provided there are enough incentives given to that.
Right. Mr. Punidhan, next round of questions from you. Coming to the cost aspect, I think throughout the day, we haven't been able to come to maybe a single number that, people can take back and say that this is the capital cost of PSP projects and this is the LCOE on average for PSP projects. Would you be able to shed some light there?
See, like I said, it depends on the business case. See, as a private developer, we are more interested into off-stream closed loop projects. If you talk with the PSU or something, they are more into on-stream projects. So the cost aspects vary a lot. So also the cost aspect, like I said earlier, depends on how well you optimize your components of the reservoir, the water conductor system, and how, if it is an underground powerhouse or an external powerhouse. So as regards as CapEx is concerned, I think if you want a ballpoint figure, then maybe it's something around 5 to 5.5 crores per megawatt. But then this is not which drives the business. For us, what drives the business is the returns. As long as it is captured in the offtake PPA, a small change or delta in the capex will not make much of a difference. What is more important is how much of storage is available, and the most important factor is, of course, the returns, the project IRR and the equity IRR. So this is how we look at those projects instead of looking at capex.
Right. Mr. Pritam, when we come to tariffs from standalone pump storage projects, what is the current range for these tariffs from standalone pump storage projects?
I think that also much depends on the cost part of it, and costs are varying project to project, though a ballpark figure industry has been talking about is something 5 to 5.5. But if you see the bids, standalone storage bid has gone, that demands you to remain at cost around 4.5. So a lot of dynamics is playing in the market now. Like one thing is clear that this PSP needs to be incentivized.
Right.
And more than incentives, various speakers have talked since the morning, is the delays happening at different
Right, we'll come to
stages.
that.
So this is the most important thing to be sorted
Right.
out, so that the predictability comes into the cost part and the tariff part.
Right.
So as such, people have talked about tariff of 5.5, 6, 7, and even 8. But everything will come
Depend
to
on
how effectively you are able to commission the project on time at less cost. I
Right.
think that only will make you to survive or grow in the market. Of course, what Punidhan said is it's a long-term business goal. This PSP is here for 40 years. So with little bit of adjustment in IRR and other factors, you are good to go. One thing is for sure, there is going to be the demand in the market, and this PSP is going to stay in the market, and it is going to grow, and it is going to meet the future requirement. More so because grid instability is the biggest factor which is driving PSP, and that is coming out of solar. Solar is only going to grow, and that will push the PSP also to grow.
Right.
I just want to add one point to what
Sure.
Pritam says. Mainly when we talk about the tariff, it also depends on how you look at it, because there are PSUs which look at it as a composite tariff. They also include the input power. So when a private developer talks about the tariff, he's talking entirely on the standalone basis. And I don't know, different developers have different perspectives, but I don't think, I mean, if you want to sustain in this PSP business, I think the lesser the tariff and I mean, of course, everybody wants a decent amount of return. Given that the decent amount of return, for me, I think the ballpoint figure is around 3 rupees 50 paise to 4 rupees.
Okay. Mrs. Sabikhi, do you
Yep.
have
Yeah,
another
so-
tariff figure?
No, so again, I
You're
think
talking about pure.
Pure
not input cost.
Just standalone.
Just the adder,
Just
storage adder
standalone
referring
energy
to,
storage cost. Yeah.
you would have got some people interested by that number. So I thought, just to, thanks for clarifying that. Now again, I think there's one element, on the tariff, I think, but just to put into simple terms, if I ask you, that you have to go back home, how much will that cost? There's no single answer to that.
Right.
Somebody might be taking a SUV, somebody be taking a hatchback, or somebody with sedan, somebody be going 7 people together. I think it's a very specific. So I think there's no single answer to that. But yes, with new tech, with a lot of people coming into this space, it is assumed, and it is rightly assumed that the cost would get competitive. If you look at the tariff determined, let's say 2 years back, and the kind of numbers that we are seeing right now, it's a reflection, a downward trajectory. One element I wanted to highlight, because we're discussing this, is the fact that renewable and storage bundled together, this bundling can be by the developer or by the procurer itself. You can have your RE, you can just buy a standard, whatever way. As a system, the cost of renewable plus the storage element is kind of getting at par with the thermal. Now the question here is, it may be slightly more, it could be slightly less, I'm not getting into that detail. The question is that we know that this will help us go green, the country's vision of go green. What is the vision? The vision is to go green or go green at a cheaper cost. If we add this, we want to go green at a cheaper cost, that we will only do it if it is cheaper. That is where I think the problem, that is where the benchmarking starts. I'm not saying the cost should not be optimized. I'm not against that. And somebody should be making unreasonable return. That's not the question. I think the big question that we need to ask is that, are we going green with an optimal cost? Then it's fine. But assuming that we will only go green if it is cheaper, otherwise we'll not. But that's not what the vision of the government of India is.
But Mr. Sabikhi, before I come to you, Mr. Punidhan, everyone has both the gentlemen have given their estimates of tariffs. What is Renew's estimates
So I think
of tariffs?
they are slightly advanced in terms of the development. So I will not give any other number. So I think, but again, the fact is yes, the fact remains this, a capex number of around 5.5 is something which we are trying to, as an industry as a whole, is trying to solve. The only problem is, I think that's also, I want to address the elephant in the room, is the fact that it is called hydro PSP. And again, in my 2 decades of WorkX, so the thumb rule I used to have for hydro is, and I don't want to offend anybody, but just for the sake of discussion, it was 10-10. 10 years, 10 crore per megawatt. So that was my understanding. It can be wrong. I'm just sharing my understanding, and most of the people would have a similar understanding. You cannot have that benchmark because it says hydro PSP, and when you go and tell somebody, not outside, within your setup also, then we're talking about 4 years, 3.5, 4 years of construction time, 4 to 5 crore rupees of capex. People will say, "Hui nahi sakta." It cannot happen because it's a hydro. I think we have to start looking at from that lens.
PSP in isolation. Yeah.
It's an off-stream closed loop. It's an infrastructure project.
From next year, our conference will then be pump storage projects. Yes. Point well taken.
Actually,
Mr.
Kushbu, this is what happens when you have 3 competitors together and ask them to spill out their numbers.
And they're participating in an upcoming bid.
And imagine nobody is going to spill out the actual number. That was on a lighter note, but one clarity which I wanted to bring here is when we are talking about standalone PSPs, it's not the tariff that is counting. It is the annual fixed cost that is counting, because how much of lakhs per megawatt per year, that is what matters. Because nobody knows what are the inputs and what are the, how you get into your financial model and what is your return. Nobody knows that. Whoever is going to do a research is all going to do on their own assumptions. But only the person who has bid that will know what is the actual return and what are those assumptions that have been taken.
Right. Moving away from cost, I think, because there is no end to it. Coming to some challenges now, I think one of the first things which I want to ask every developer is, how has your experience, if it has changed on the approval side? Has the approval process eased a little bit, or is it still the same? Is it still as time taking? Starting from you, Mr. Pritam.
I think there is a right level of thoughts and sincerity is there in the government at different levels. Everybody understands the need, and the good thing is it is being talked about. Uh, so that part is definitely fine. And from there it generates that to some level of simplification efforts are being made. But if you don't have a past experience, just you are starting in this phase, uh, there is long way to go. Long way to go to convert the thoughts into actions. I think there are constraints, but if you go through the whole cycle of starting to end approvals and you ponder over what did we achieve, actually, what did we do in the process which took 2 years. Uh, our friends have talked that CEA approvals 2 years, environment approvals 2 years. Uh, this is a right question for everybody to think and ask, and more so at the approving authority level, how we can do what we can do to expedite. Ultimately, all the pressure then comes onto the construction phase. And there you have no excuses, and people take a very high order of, a friend said that 4 years, 5 years, the data says 10 years, you struggle. Same things can be made simpler. I don't know, but looking back, I definitely see that there is much more scope to do. Maybe approach has to be a little different. Government at some point of time has to do this walk the talk of minimal government and maximum governance. Why do we do this process? Ultimately, what it is giving. So that if you know what is my want, you can put it on the table on day one and fix the number of days and maybe simplify the process. You know what you want. And that can be put on the table on day one. Have a checklist, see that these things are done, then move forward. Uh, Unfortunately, my experience is like there's lot to go, lot to go. These things, if made simpler, also will help project cost also, and you will see there is already there is a high level of enthusiasm in PSP space in the market players. It will also increase. It will increase the confidence. Uh, I'm not sure the number of players today, the large number of players are there. If it takes like this 2 years, 3 years, 4 years for approval, some numbers are going to fizzle out on the way. That's my take on this.
Right.
And whereas this PSP is a necessity for the country, so seriousness has to be there from all the level and a way to go, I think.
Right.
Sorry
Mr.
to say, maybe it is disappointing. Good thing is also there that there is a realization and everybody is talking. So hopefully more will be done in days to come and things will be more simplified.
Right. Mr. Punidhan, same question. When you announced your first project, that time versus now, have approvals, etc., been fast tracked even a little bit?
I mean, firstly, let me put it this way. I mean, before getting into the challenges, firstly, the government of India has done a commendable job in terms of promoting pump storage projects. Of course, the ISTS waiver, which has been recently extended, is a wonderful initiative of the government of India. Second is the enabling infrastructure that is coming up. Now they have included transmission also, the ropeways and everything. So that is one enabling factor. And also the government is always continuously thinking ways and means of how to support the sector as such. In fact, we being, I mean, Nitin will agree because he's part of ASSOCHAM. So we have always been advocating with the government. But if you ask for a wish list is going to be endless. But still, having said that, the government has done a lot. There are still a lot of pain points which we think need to be covered. I would like to just segregate it into firstly on the policy advocacy part and the appraisal systems, then the challenges that we are facing in the construction, and then of course the offtake. Firstly, there is no uniform policy across India. Pump storage projects, Government of India has brought out a guideline, and each state is following its own this one. Worst case, we have seen at least in 2 states, I will not name the states, but at least in 2 states, which are really discouraging. Discouraging in the sense, they have gone for a Swiss challenge method of allotment of pump storage projects. So a Swiss challenge method, why will a developer get into all the pre-feasibility and everything and then give it to the market for somebody else to match it and give away the project? So this is one aspect that is very discouraging. On the other hand, there are at least 2 states which have come out with really good initiatives. One is Uttar Pradesh. They have come out with a wonderful capital subsidy post-commissioning, of course. Second is Assam is also coming out in a similar term. So different states have different policies. What I would like to, share at this point of time is that we have different modes of allotment of projects. There are a lot of states which have clubbed even the offtake along with the allotment. First of all, the allotment, any restrictive provisions of any policy shouldn't be there because that becomes a license raj. So if it comes to allotment of on-river systems, off-river systems, or whether through tariff-based bidding, I think keep it an open ground for everybody. So just telling that, okay, if you are a PSU, you come and sign an MOU, I can allot a project. And if you are a private developer, okay, you come with a closed loop off-stream project, then I will allot a project. I think this aspect has to be opened up. Now, having said that, one more thing. Closed loop off-stream project does not have a river in place. But the appraisal system in India is happening on the basis of River Valley Authority, River Valley basis criteria. This has happened in hydropower. We are trying to draw the legacy of hydropower and pulling it into pump storage projects. So the basic thing which we need to understand is this is a storage concept and that is a generation concept.
Right. Mrs. Sabikhi.
Yeah, thanks. So just to take forward the point, I think, he rightly mentioned about, states asking for some kind of free capacity, share in the capacity or in the generation. I think that is something, where it is coming from. So the legacies of hydro. The fact that, again, I'll keep coming back to this point because more or less I find that when we discuss, because it is seen as a hydro project, hydropower, and he rightly mentioned there's no generation in this. It's a storage capacity. And the fact that there were discussions around that 5% of the capacity can be given to a state. A very simple suggestion, 5%. But just imagine if I operate a 1,000 megawatt project and I give, let's say, 50 megawatt to a specific state, it's not possible for me to honor their, I cannot operate 50 megawatt, maybe if the turbine size is 220, I cannot operate 50 megawatt as per their requirement. So again, principally it could be okay, but otherwise it's not. And also the fact that what is the status of the nature, what is the nature of this? It should be seen as an industrial project, infrastructure project. Tell me which state, or you have any example in mind, if I come up with an automobile manufacturing plant in one of the states, I say I'll produce EV, and the state said, okay, fine, you do that, but 20% only we will only buy. You don't buy that. None of the state will say that. So it's no different. It's a warehouse. I'm storing something. None of the state will say, okay, fine, if I open a cold storage somewhere, the state will not say, no, 10% of the capacity I will only use, whether I like it or not. So I think it's all about that element I just wanted to further emphasize on the point raised by him. And also the fact, Pritamji mentioned about, you mentioned necessity, it's a necessity. But it is important to also realize that is it the necessity of the future? The answer is no. It is right here today. NLDC did a resource adequacy plan for the country FY26. We are sitting in that period. And the capacity, storage capacity which is required for the country to be optimally getting optimal dispatch, we are nowhere close to that. So it is not a future requirement. We are sitting in this. So that is the reason there's a commendable amount of work being done to fast track it. But I'm saying whatever has been done, we just need to further emphasize and reinforce that, because it is not something which is a future requirement. It is today's requirement. We are short of energy. I'm making a very bold statement. We are short of energy storage requirement in the country today.
Right. Mr. Punidhan, the next question can probably start from you. We've spoken about obviously the approval related challenges and the kind of issues that you're facing in different states from getting project allocations itself. What about the other pre-construction challenges that developers like yourself face? Is it resistance of like local agitation, resistance from villages, or land acquisition issues? So what are the other kind of challenges that you face, and has there been enough support from states or the local authorities there to help developers like yourself in addressing those challenges?
I think it all depends on how well your due diligence has been done. Firstly, all those things are again carried forward from the hydropower. Let me tell you our way of doing PSPs is when we start the site selection, the first thing which we do is superimpose the wildlife map into the Google Earth map and stay away from those red lines. That's the first thing we do. Second is how big is the reservoir, lower reservoir and the upper reservoir? What is the distance between, what is the length of the water conductor system? The L by H ratio plays a very important factor because of the cost economics. So it all comes on how well your due diligence has been done. Second is directly trying to answer your question. We do not enter into any project that has R&R. We do not enter into any project that has rehabilitation and resettlement because most of the PSPs are compact. The reservoirs are very close by or maybe a few kilometers. Unlike in hydropower projects, if you see at Parvati project, 31 kilometers of tunneling. So most of these projects are more compact. They do not have R&R. And as far as your third question about the local help that we are getting, three main things. One is the one-time water filling that we need the help of the Water Resources Department. Second is the land acquisition that is required from the Revenue Department. And the third important is actually about the offtake. I would like to stress upon that there have been states which have brought out bids for offtake, like UPPCL has done, MSCDCL has done. UPPCL has repeated it again now on more 2,000 megawatt. Within Adani also, you must be aware that Adani Mumbai AEML has brought out a bid. So there must be more bids coming in. And we have tremendous support as far as the district administration is concerned, the Water Resources Department is concerned. We have faced certain issues regarding water availability, but again I say that in the initial stage when you are able to identify whether you have enough of water resource for that one-time filling, then it makes your job easier. There are certain states, like for example Rajasthan, Loni River is dry. Even though you are able to identify sites, you do not have water to fill your reservoirs. Similarly, if you go to UP, there are number of projects, they call it a bumper to bumper project. Because one project finished, other guy starts. So it's in UP, it is like this. And still people are trying to squeeze into and trying to find a site because UP is one state where so much of support is there.
Right.
In terms of fast tracking the project, in terms of awarding the project, In terms of bringing out offtake bids, excellent support. Yeah, and capital subsidy also, right.
Right.
So I think that is the kind of initiatives that we look forward from the state governments. Of course, the normal things like MOEF clearance and all those things, that is mandatory. I mean, you have to go through it. There is no way out. But the state can still make a huge difference. How UP has attracted so much of project developers, it's a role.
Right. Mr. Sabikhi, are you looking to add something or should I go to the audience?
Just a point, couple of points actually on the approvals side of it, and the fact that it's specifically for closed loop off-stream projects. Uh, there were discussions, there were deliberation and brainstorming being done. If at all we need CA concurrence for that, I understand the forest and environment clearance is required, but do we really need CA concurrence in that case? It's good, maybe, I'm not saying it should not be there, the fact that it should not be the condition. And then there were discussion that no, that the lender is asking, and then we speak to lender, and they say, no, it was there for, again, this was there for hydro, so it become part of the process. I think there were discussion on those lines also. I'm not saying that this part has to be done away with. It is important, but again, this is not something which should derail my whole process. So as soon as I get my forest environment clearance, I'm good to go. This is something where anyways the developer is kind of taking. There are guidelines. None of the developers will cut corners to make sure that the project is of low, because we're kind of committing for 50 years. That's one school of one thought I would like to leave. And another part is on the enabling infrastructure. Now, the reason why I'm able to talk about these discussion, because I'm privy to the discussion which happens with industry experts and players, is on the enabling infrastructure. You know, there's a amount of 75 lakh rupees per megawatt which can be claimed, and it sounds pretty decent. But the fact is, whatever is allowed in that list, even if I claim everything, and I will not be able to reach to that number. I will never be able to claim that. So, and again, the fact is that you're trying to make sure that the list get a little longer so that you're able. But again, as a matter of fact, again, I'm not saying that should be the case. But again, just a thought for everybody's consumption and deliberation is, why do we need these many lists? And because for each and every element you have to demonstrate, it's the fact. The intent is to provide some kind of a support to the developer for that towards the capital. You know, why can't it be a direct support? Again, a very bold statement. But again, why can't it be? Even if it is 60 lakh rupees, let it be 60 lakh rupees. You do, it can be milestone linked. If you do 25% construction done, you will get this much, something of that sort. Because intent is to support. Intent is to do some kind of a viability gap funding. In this case, so again, there must be some rationale behind it, but again, it has been linked to enabling infrastructure. You know, otherwise everybody and anybody, all three of us will have a different kind of claims, and each and every claim will be under due diligence. I feel there has to be a separate setup department within every organization to make these claims and get those approvals done.
Right. Mr. Pritam, before I go to audience question, do you have anything to add to whatever was just
Yeah,
discussed?
just to add, actually, on these initiatives, we are all together through SHM or through Director, Ministry of Power and all, which they are very positive about it. And whatever is happening is all good. What we are talking is something more can be done. I talked about the minimal government, maximum governance. This is what exactly we mean. Your incentive is there on the table, but is it there on
not.
your plate? And how sure you are that you are going to get this? So there is room to make it process simpler. And yes, the question is valid, why not? If this is intended to make the process simpler and so that the developer is more comfortable and can go with the more certainty in the market, I think.
Right. Right. Taking some questions or comments from the audience for any of our panelists. I can begin from the right side. Are there any questions or comments or clarifications for any of the three panelists? Anyone on the right? No? Getting the...
No, just the best session of the day. That's what I want.
Oh, then we thank all the three speakers. And any questions on the left? Yes, there are a few raised hands. Can you please give the mic to him first? Yes. Sir,
Yeah,
please introduce yourself.
Yeah, myself Vishwandu Gupta from Pipcol Limited R&D Center. Just I would like to ask one thing that can you please highlight something related with the membrane, composite membrane which are using especially for these PSP projects? Because this is very specific kind of membrane. I heard that you are using in PSP, which are not earlier used in another like the tunnels or the hydro projects. So what is this and what are the specification you are using for this, or any international or the national standard are available for that?
I
Thank
think
you.
in Greenco's presentation they had mentioned that they will be using it for Pinnapuram project. Do you want to take it up? Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you. As far as membrane is concerned, of course, they are governed by the technical specifications. Here in Chitravati project, we are using this Carpi developed geomembrane. So basically, of course, we all know what is the use of that membrane. But as long as it serves our purpose, we are not specific about any make or anything. But we are facing a lot of challenge because there are very few membrane manufacturers. And I mean, we just started off with one project, Chitravati, and then we are also evaluating for Gandikota and Thoroughly. So as far as Adani is concerned, I think we are not facing much of a challenge. Like, I mean, I do not want to comment, but I heard that it has been extensively used in Pinnapuram. So I think somebody, if Mr. Nanda was here, maybe he would have been able to explain to you in a very big way. Since we just started off, so maybe we do not have that kind of experiences which Pinnapuram has faced.
Actually, my colleague Palak can probably introduce you to someone from Greenco's team after the session, and maybe you can take that question up with them. There were more questions in the left. Yes, please, sir.
Hello. Myself, Manoj Gupta from FCONS. My question about the mode of the civil contract. Basically, one is the EPC mode or another is the item rate contract. So to sharing the risk or to mitigate the cost overrun as well as the delays, what is your opinion? Which mode is better?
Who would like to take up that question? Mr. Pritam?
Yeah, I think EPC mode calls for lesser risk for the developer, so that should be the preferred mode. But there are a lot of factors also to be looked at. You do get better control in EPC mode, but also EPC is guided by certain boundary conditions. And it is likely, and we have seen experiences that you get into EPC mode, but ultimately it is turning into the BOQ contract. Okay. So this is like, sometimes this is heavier, and BOQ versus EPC, this will continue. And call is taken based on what are the inherent risk in your BOQ list. So based on that, if you are more certain, no changes, EPC is the best.
Right,
Yeah,
Mr.
but
Puri.
in case of the hydro, where a lot of the geology, lot of seepage issues, lot of things are there which are risk associated. So either risk to be
I
shared
think
or
Manojji, just to answer, I mean, it's actually an excellent question because the strategy of the developer depends on in what all the business is. Of course, everybody wants to go for a simple civil and HM package and E&M package. This is the typical way that we have all been awarding. But let me try to add how innovative people are getting into. We are also, in fact, doing this. Given our advantage being into cements, given our advantage in being into PVC, given our advantage into being in multiple sectors, what organizations are doing is they're going to create a central procurement group and then trying to segregate all those brought out materials. I mean, the supply items like cement and steel. So this will go in a large way. One is to fast track the construction process. And second is to optimize the returns within the group. So the strategies completely depend on developer to developer. As far as E&M package is concerned, I mean, I should be very, very frank. We have very, very few E&M OEMs. You can name it Android, Voith, and GE. There are a lot of E&M players like Toshiba, IMSA, and Power Machines, and all these people who are wanting to enter into the market, but they are not getting into that kind of thing. So what we are also trying to promote is we are trying to see two-tier manufacturers who are ready to come in and support us in fast-tracking the projects. So we are ready for going on a package-wise also. So that is the strategy, contract strategy that at least we are trying to do.
We have time for just two more short questions. Yes, we can take that question.
Yeah, hello, I'm Ravindra from Bangalore Hydro. My one question is, all three being major players in this space, are you spending on R&D to build capacity in maybe our IITs and NITs to design better turbines, and maybe for smaller projects like a 150 megawatt pump storage plant or 200 megawatts, maybe lesser head also, maybe around 120 megawatts, 120 meters, 150 meters. So are you spending on R&D as well? And yeah, if I'm allowed to put one more.
Sure, please.
So, Mr. Punidhan, you mentioned that you have a model where for the contractors, you are supplying the same materials. So, how has been the response of contractors? Because they feel that even procurement of raw materials, they have enough, say, margins and, say, gains. So, there they may see it as a constraint, buying, say, materials from you. So, are the contractors really responsive to that model of implementation? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, first let me answer your second question first, and then I'll come back to the first one. As far as contracting strategy is concerned, see, as a developer, you will, of course, you need to have EPC contractors who will have their minimum gain and then make profits out of it. That is an ethical thing. So, but as a developer, I will always do my strategy in a way to reduce the cost as much as possible. So that is what we are doing. So I don't think so that there is something wrong. We are not having any constraint for the EPC guy. In fact, it is a win-win situation for both of them to try and do it, so that because once the project gets as quick as possible. For example, you see Chitravati project we are going to do it in 33 months is right on track. This is because of all these kind of strategies there is. So coming back to your first question, I'm sorry, just please repeat it.
R&D and development of the right skill set.
I'm sorry?
R&D and development of skill set in IITs and universities.
Okay. Regarding R&D, yes, of course, at the group level, we are doing it. But let me tell you, you told 150 megawatt and 150 head, we will never enter into it. We will never enter into it because the cost of economics for a PSP is minimum of 500. If it is going to be less than 500 megawatt, then I will never enter into it. So it might sound very good for a hydropower project, but it does not make a cost benefit sense for a developer, because the larger the project is, I can minimize my